It seems Google GOG negative 0.51% still isn't done tuning Motorola for what it needs yet. The end game isn't 100% clear, though some executives have said it's an insurance policy against Samsung, according to that report. Take the last earnings call, for example. Google CFO Patrick Pichette said Google still had a lot of products to work through before we would see Google's master plan, whether that's the Google X phone or something else, come into shape. Here are his full remarks from the call. Just to remind everyone, we do care about profitability. We are 180 days into this journey and we have made huge progress. We're outsourcing manufacturing, and I just want to remind everyone that we inherited 12 to 18 months of product pipeline that we have to work through. We have to overhaul and then rebuild the new product pipeline. It does take time before it shows up. Having said that, on the financials themselves, it's worth noting that Motorola is hindered by a portion of amortization of intangibles due to the acquisition. All in all, when we look at the losses for this quarter, if you take out the amortization, these are not consequential losses. That's why Larry started by saying we're really optimistic. It's just the nature of the beast. He later referred to how Motorola's current products aren't necessarily meeting the WOW standards when he spoke at Morgan Stanley's MS-1.08% technology conference last month. Transcript pulled from S&P Capital. Look, we've been participating with hardware manufacturers for quite a while now. If you go back to the very first Nexus phone that we built with different partners. So we're very involved in hardware in that sense. In the case of Motorola, as I've said many times on the calls, we've inherited a pipeline. So Motorola has a great set of assets, but it had a pipeline of products that were fine but not really to the standards of what Google would say is, wow, innovative, transformative. So we have been working really hard to Dennis Woodside and his team, to take a hold of Motorola, really kind of putting it on a trajectory that's much more of what we believe at Google is the right mindset, the right time frame. You invest for the long term. But we've inherited 18 months of pipeline that we actually have to drain right now, and while we're actually building the next wave of innovation and product lines. And so far, as we said many times in the past, we have to go through this transition. These are not easy transitions. We're very optimistic, we're very supportive, and we have kind of great plans for Motorola. But for the last few quarters, you've seen the announcements of restructurings and rationalization of product lines, and this has to kind of continue over the next few quarters while we actually kind of make that crossover. So there's still really hard work to be completed at Motorola before we see tangible signs. But we also are very optimistic because since day one, we've started working on the next agenda, and we see that pipeline kind of showing up. So long story short is they're right in the thick of it right now. There's still a lot of work to do, but our own kind of work is actually quite promising. However, it does seem that Google has a plan for Motorola, given that it is moving executives such as new CEO Dennis Woodside over to the phone manufacturer. The job cuts today come on top of the 20% reduction of Motorola's workforce that started last August. It's clear that Google is in the process of making some significant changes, but given Pichette's comments on the earnings call, it may take some time before we see Google's vision for Motorola to take shape.